Hello, Freemasons and other miscellaneous human beings. Today we're going to play another episode of the Crash Bandicoot 2 game, wherein I'm playing as Crash Bandicoot. And so we're going to get going. So today I want to talk to you about how a long time ago I went to Nickelodeon Studios and pitched them a cartoon that they didn't accept. The cartoon that I pitched them was basically the story of my life, which is more or less a cartoon anyway, if I'm maybe so bold as to say. Exploded right away. Game over, I'm sorry. Sorry you had to see that. So, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, Freemasons and other miscellaneous human beings. Today, I'd like to talk to you about something a little bit more important to me than random nonsense, if you catch my drift. So, here's the deal. So, a while ago, a couple years back, I guess you could say, I went out to Nickelodeon Studios and I pitched them a cartoon about some nonsense, if you catch my drift. What I talked to them about was basically what would be the novelization of a cartoon version of my life. I like to think that incredible things happen to me, more extraordinary than you would think would happen to a normal human person, but Nickelodeon Studios was not so quite convinced. So here was what so basically what I pitched them was the novelization of the cartoon version of a little TV show that I like to call Duck Dynasty. So basically the main character would be me, like a little caricature version of me, running around a little backwoods like a world where there's all sorts of crazy creatures and people running around where excuse me. In the first episode would be not necessarily Mormons, since the Mormons, that's a religious sector, and religion has no place in children's cartoons as far as I'm concerned. I like to uphold that practice and make sure that Nickelodeon doesn't get into any legal trouble with their children's parents, because that's just not appropriate for children to be listening to people talk about Mormonism. I understand that Mormonism is not so Mormonism is a mainstream accepted religion, but it's not something that children should be exposed to, because it does have some very radical opinions that maybe I don't condone everybody follow, but I do believe in a lot of them, even though I am Catholic, so let's not get that confused with what I am and who I am and whatever. Just remember that I don't disagree with Mormons. To be honest, I don't disagree with really any religions. I think that Judaism is very important to us in our society. I think that the Jews they provide for us a lot of intelligent people and actors and smart people who are very good at what they do. Like Rick Moranis, he's a very good actor, and I believe him to be Jewish. And Andy Samberg, he's very good too. He's more of a modern-day Rick Moranis, if not so talented as he is versatile as an actor as Rick Moranis was back in the day. Rick Moranis was in The Little Shop of Horrors and in Ghostbusters, and he was really good at what he did back then, along with Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi, and all of those, those Saturday Night Live actors who are all really good at what they did. But that's not my point, ladies. So, when I went to Nickelodeon and pitched this cartoon, I talked to some man named Steve, and he was like, okay, so your name is, SparkleDart? Okay, well, we'll let you into our studio, and you can pitch your cartoon. So I did that, and I pitched them. I said, okay, so basically the idea is that the main character is like a caricature of me, and my dad and my mom and my brother Rob. And they're like, okay, so why should we care about a cartoon version of your family? And I'm like, well, because we get into a lot of crazy shenanigans. We get into a lot of crazy shenanigans as a family unit. That was a total mistake on my part. I apologize for whatever just happened there. Cortex is going to reprimand me, and I'm going to have to deal with the consequences. That's fine. So, I tell Mr. Steve that my family is kind of crazy. You know, it's like anybody else's family, but like with a cartoon spin on it, you know. If you've ever been to tvtropes.com, they talk about something called flanderization. Basically what that is you take your cartoon characters and you make them exaggerated personalities of themselves, and that's basically already what my family is before the flanderization takes place. So essentially we don't need to ever worry about the cartoon characters becoming characters of themselves because they already are, right? So we're taking the Always Sunny in Philadelphia approach with this because they like especially Charlie and Mac, but they're already like huge characters of themselves, and to change them in any way would be completely unethical because those characters are something special, something you should never ever hope to see from another TV show ever again, because they just capture so much of what those characters are supposed to be. So if you've ever seen like if you've ever had a friend who is super into karate or running a business and scamming people like in Ed, Ed and Eddie, where they're all like scam artists, it's kind of like that, but I guess more grounded in reality, because it would be more obvious that somebody from the rural backwoods would be into that sort of thing than somebody from the suburbs, because somebody in the suburbs should already be coming from a rich white family, and if they're coming from a rich white family, then it shouldn't matter what they do because they should already have enough money. So this is kind of a problem for me right here. Thank God. So, somebody from a rich white family shouldn't have the problems that a rural kid does, and that's not just me being like bigoted or whatever. That's just what I really believe. I mean, I went to school with kids who grew up in the suburbs, and they were always like rich and white, and they was always in your face about where they came from. Like, they would always kind of stick it to you if you didn't come from where they came from. And that was kind of, I mean, like, if you didn't expect that, then I guess it was kind of your fault for not expecting them to be rude to you, because they were very smart and talented and not just rich. Like, if they were just rich, then it wouldn't have made a difference if they were being so rude to you. But they were also smart and talented, which kind of leads me to believe that between the whole nature versus nurture debate, I think that a lot of it really is nurture, because families in the rural suburbs, I'm sorry for saying that, that's a stupid thing to say. Family from the rural areas of the country. Families from the rural areas of the countries didn't encourage their children as much as families from the suburbs did. And I know that to be true because my friend always told me that his parents would say it was gay for him to be like involved in theater arts, even though he was from he was like kind of in the middle of the rural and the suburbs, but basically close enough to the suburbs that or the rural. Oh, I got shrunk to a tiny man. So he was basically close enough to the suburbs that his parents thought that no matter what he did, it was gay. And that's kind of disappointing, because I think all children should be allowed to do whatever they want to when they're grown up. I think to reprimand a child for doing something that he thinks is interesting or neat or whatever, I think that's wrong. Pardon me again for getting the game over. Let me tell you what, these levels are hard. They are not easy to do. And I've been trying real hard to beat them, but they just will not give me the benefit of the doubt. I can't do it, so I'm going to try one more time, and I'm going to not get burned by these floating platforms, because that's a stupid thing to do. That's a stupid thing for a human to do. Bump. So we know that these guys shift positions, and that's kind of okay, because I expect it. And if I didn't expect it, then it would be my own fault, because I see what they do, and I know what they do, and I can like anticipate what they do appropriately and react to it accordingly. So this guy here, he's not going to change position, so I'm just going to jump on his head and then keep going, because this guy here is going to do the same thing, and I can jump on him and get the checkpoint, the exclamation, question marks. Is this cutting it for you? Because this is what a Let's Play should be, right? This is what people should be talking about, is the game itself, and not crazy things like Bigfoot or conspiracy theories, or pitching cartoons to Nickelodeon, which got rejected, by the way. In fact, I pitched the same thing to the Cartoon Network, and they released a show like a month later called Chowder. And Chowder's a good show, but I'm pretty sure they just ripped off the thing that I pitched to them and made it into a TV show. And I think that that's gross and misinformative, or whatever the term you might want to use would be. I think it's gross of them to do that, and if they would just change the name of the show to what I suggested originally, which was Dirt Buddies, then I wouldn't have such a problem with what they were doing. I would think that what they were doing was okay. And that's not just me talking, that's my friend talking, because he was involved in the project too. He was there when I pitched the show, and he was there when I got rejected too. So it was all like a partner thing between me and my friend, because he would have played the secondary main character, which of course would have been my best friend in the show. And I also wanted to have him play my dad, which would have been kind of weird to have my best friend play my dad, but I mean, that's, you know, it's not that weird. You know what? It's fine. It's fine to have that, because that's, you know, he's not my real dad, and it's not so weird to have him in the show as my dad. So I'm okay with it. If you're okay with it, just forget that that was a plot point, I guess. Okay, there we go. I'm sorry I wasted 10 minutes of your life on this one stage. But we're done with it now, so that was painless. That was completely okay. We're all done. So goodbye, farewell, Avita saying goodbye. Mwah. Have fun, babies.